We recently went up to Silverstone for the annual Michelin International Car Test Day, because although sales are, of course, well down right across the board, the proportion of foreign cars bought actually continues to rise. 30% of all cars on British roads hail from foreign manufacturers. What makes more and more British car buyers go foreign? A report now from Tony Bastable.
Well, there seems to be no shortage of new models to choose from either, like this one. It comes from Fiat's Spanish operation SEAT. It's called the 133, and it comes with Fiat's tried and trusted 850cc motor. Or for your £1,700, you could have the sporty version of Renault's popular small saloon, the 5. That's called the 5 TS and has a slightly larger engine. Or if you want to spend £4,300, there's a new one from Toyota, the Crown Super Saloon, and I'm told there that the price includes just about every known extra. But from the established models, these have proved to be the top-selling foreign cars in the United Kingdom market over the last 12 months, led by the Japanese Datsuns, who've managed to collar nearly 5% of the entire United Kingdom market, and of that 5%, a good bit has been put in by this little chap. This is the Datsun Cherry, very much a Japanese Mini. Engine at the front, 1000cc, transverse mounted, driving the front wheels. 2-door, 4-door or estate car versions. Also a good seller from Datsun's, the 120Y. That's the Sunny series. It's a conventional mechanical layout and an inline 1200 motor driving the rear wheels. And also in the top 10, this chap, the Bluebird, available with a 1600 or 1800cc motor, both engines in exactly the same body shell. Again, like the Sunny, an absolutely conventional motor car from Datsun, the importer who, without any question, has been worrying our traditional foreign car importers, people like the French, the great Renault state-owned Combine, their top seller, the Renault 5. Like all Renaults these days, it's got front-wheel drive, this one with an 850 or 950cc engine. Then there's the larger 1300cc powered Renault 12, and the good old established Renault 16, also very much in demand, and all those Renault's advanced engineering concepts. Also shooting up in sales since its launch late last year, the Volkswagen Golf. Now this car takes on where the old Beetle left off, from 1100 to 1500cc engine with folding rear seats, opening tailgate there, and for the German golfing enthusiast, a neat Italian-styled semi-estate. Now from Italian styling to Italian manufacturers, to Fiat. And their top seller over here, the little 127, which picked up Car of the Year award some 4 years back. Now this comes in 2- or 3-door versions, again it's front-wheel drive, with a 903cc engine. But just why do these cars sell so well on the British market? That's the question I put to some of the motoring journalists testing the cars here today, people like Stuart Marshall.
It's really a question of availability, I think, and competitive pricing, and also some of them are just a little bit different from anything else you can get on the British market that happens to be made here.
How do you account for the success of the Datsun operation?
Mainly, I would say, a good range of cars, very aggressive marketing.
But what's special about a little car like the Cherry that makes it the top-selling imported car?
Because it's the most European of all the Japanese cars. In fact, it's so European, it's not been terribly successful in Japan, where they're a bit more traditional. But here it's in much the same class as a Mini, but a little bit bigger, and it has the priceless advantage to a lot of people of having 4 doors.
Sue Baker, motoring correspondent of the London Evening News. The little Fiat and the Golf have an obvious appeal to the lady buyer, but why do you think the girls go for these cars in preference to any British equivalents?
I think the biggest thing that appeals about both these cars is their ability to adapt into a sort of estate car by folding the rear seats flat and opening the rear tailgate. Neither of them has a direct equivalent in the British market.
Any other noteworthy features?
Well, yes, they're both small cars and easy to park, but they do have a lot of space inside compared to a car like a Mini. They do have more legroom for rear passengers and therefore for boisterous children.
So they've got the market entirely to themselves, have they?
In a way, I think they have, yes.
Frank Page from The Observer. What have Renault got with their range that British manufacturers don't seem to have?
Well, they've got a very practical range. The French are very practical people. All their cars have useful things like these opening back doors, the hatchbacks, back folding seats, and they make fairly complicated cars with front-wheel drive most of the time, but that also gives you other compensating things like flat floors. But above all, I think the main thing is that they have terrific reliability. They have a good name for cars which keep going. There was a recent survey in Drive magazine which showed that of all cars, both British and foreign, Renault owners really get the best deal because they get the best reliability with parts service and all that.
But you have said that they are advanced engineering, and certainly in terms of their mechanical layout. So surely, by that token, they're bound to be more expensive to run than the conventional Marina, the Escort or the Avenger.
Well, it really rather depends how they're put together, you know. I mean, if you've got a very good design, even if it is slightly more complicated, and if it's put together properly, and you've also got good service and good spares backup, it need not necessarily be expensive in the long run.
But this all sounds too good to be true. There must be some drawback with the imported car.
Oh yes, of course there are. I mean, there are instances where, for example, a bumper for a Renault might cost you twice what it would for a Vauxhall, say, or an exhaust system. Some spares are a lot more expensive. Some of the service is more expensive. Some aspects of an imported car might not appeal to a particular driver, like the Renault 16 has a steering column gear change, which we now think is very old-fashioned. It also has this funny roof with the loops on the top, which is very difficult to fit a roof rack to. Those are the things you have to weigh up when you're considering a foreigner against a British car.
What about depreciation, Frank?
Well, depreciation is a factor, but it's one of those things which was taken into account when Drive did this survey, and they still found that even taking into account that some of the foreign cars do depreciate quicker than British, it was still a good long-term buy and value for money.
So there we are then, more expensive to service and to repair, and with possibly higher depreciation. Yet for all that, there is absolutely no evidence to suggest that the number of new foreign car registrations in the United Kingdom is in any way falling. And it's all too easy to talk about foreign car dumping and for Lord Stokes to say that those of us who buy a foreign car should have our heads looked at. But the economic facts of life are, common market or no, that we must allow the foreign manufacturer to sell his cars over here on our home market. Because if we don't, all we're going to do is to make things very difficult for our own British manufacturers to sell their products overseas. For the British motor industry to compete, therefore, it means they've got to produce cars that are competitively priced and have the same competitive specification as some of the foreign imports that we've seen here at Silverstone today.